welcome to Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Wise Whitehead. In the second hour, it's time for our Parenting Roundtable. And we're going to discuss Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision. We're going to talk about dating and romance, building relationships with our children, school violence, and how do you advocate for your child within the system. Our dads are here to answer all of those questions. Folks, Black History Month is right around the corner. And if you're looking for something to do, we've got just the thing for you. All throughout the month of February, here on Today with Dr. Kaye, we are giving away prizes. And to kick it off, we have tickets to the National Museum of African American History and Culture for this Friday only. Be the sixth caller in the second hour, and the tickets are yours. We're going to keep reminding you, we want you to have this experience, to get a chance to get down to our museum, to witness all of that history and that culture up close and personal. We have tickets for you. We want to give them away. We don't want to keep them. So keep listening in and be prepared to call in the second hour so you can get these tickets. As we begin the show, I wanted to take a moment to recognize and give respect to one of my mentors, Reverend Wyatt T. Walker. He passed away yesterday. I first met Reverend Wyatt T. Walker, who's one of the leaders of the civil rights movement, when I was an undergraduate at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. I left school to help campaign for Reverend Jesse Jackson, and it was Reverend Dr. Wyatt T. Walker who prepared us, who taught us about activism, who made the civil rights movement come alive for us. It was an opportunity for me to meet one of the trailblazers, one of the major strategists from the civil rights movement. Reverend Walker was Dr. King's chief of staff and primary civil rights strategist. If you were talking about what to do and how to do it, it was Reverend Wyatt T. Walker who set up this plan, who was the brains in so many ways behind a lot of the moves that were made, particularly with the Birmingham Children's Campaign. Dr. Wyatt T. Walker joined the fledgling Southern Christian Leadership Conference, we all know it as SCLC, in 1961. He served until 1964 as his executive director, and he was unofficially known as and seen as Dr. King's right-hand man. He devised a structured fundraising strategy. He organized numerous protests. He was, in so many ways, a giant. We stand on his shoulders. We recognize what he's done, and we just want to take some time here on Today with Dr. Kaye to pay tribute to one of the people that made what we deal with today, who made it possible. He is one of the ones that set that down. So I want to make some way for his work. I want to play a clip and give you a sense of who he was and the work that he did.
The primary thrust of this technique of marches was to provide an entry level for people to participate in great struggles with minimal effort. It doesn't take much effort in the nonviolent arena for a person to, say, march a few blocks, or to march in front of a Woolworths store, or to march downtown. It was one of the ways in which you can include a great number of people and to give witness to the moral issue that was at stake.
So in thinking about the moral issue at stake, folks, this should probably make you think about Black Lives Matter and the ways in which the civil rights movement paved the way for the Black Lives Matter movement that we're dealing with today. What does it mean to push back against this system? What does it mean to force this system to truly take a moment and address racism at its core? That is the work that Reverend Wyatt T. Walker did alongside Dr. King. I have a clip of Reverend Walker talking about how America needs to truly address racism. Let's take a quick listen to it.
What we need is long-term solutions to long-term problems, and this nation has not come to grips with biting the bullet to do something about racism. I was on a panel just a few days ago, and I said that W.E.B. Du Bois said in 1896 that the problem of the 20th century is the color line. And here we are in 1995, and he echoes the same truth, that the problem of the 21st century is the color line. We have gone backwards on the issue of race in the last 12 to 15 years. Most of the gains that we made in the period of the movement have been diluted or neutralized. It is post-Reconstruction all over again. Racism in this country has been cyclical. We make a few gains, we go forward 2 steps, and then we go backward 3 steps, and that's where we are. We're in 20th century post-Reconstruction right now, in my view.
So that's something that Reverend Y.T. Walker was talking about as it pertained to what the problem was of the 20th century, this notion of the color line. Here we are in the 21st century. I would add to that the problem is not just the color line. The problem is with the ways in which we understand race, class, and gender in this country. These are the type of debates that we would have as young students with Reverend Walker while we were trying to explain how it was so different. What we were dealing with was completely new, and he kept reminding us that there is nothing new under the sun when it comes to racism, when it comes to sexism, and when it comes to classism. It continues to go into a cycle. What we just heard with the clip from Reverend Y.T. Walker, that came from City University of New York, and it was a TV interview in 1995 with Dr. Roscoe C. Brown talking to Reverend Dr. Wyatt. And Roscoe C. Brown, of course, was the director of urban education policy. And that is just the way in which we recognize and just take a moment. So, folks, in the midst of everything else that is going on, we do not want to forget to just stop and to appreciate the leaders whose shoulders that we stand on. We look much, much farther because we stand on their shoulders. We turn our attention now to all the changes that have been happening in Baltimore City, thinking about Operation Blitz in particular. That is what got kicked off this weekend when we had the new police commissioner placed into office. And it was Darrell D'Souza who decided this weekend to step up his deployment of police officers. He called it Operation Blitz. And he has stated that it has yielded immediate results. They had 19 guns being seized and 55 arrests over this weekend. Now, the homicides haven't stopped. We had 4 more homicides this weekend, and we're now up to 19 homicides. But at this point, what we're thinking about is the fact that Operation Blitz is what we're looking at. What can we do to end the violence that's happening in this city? Step 1, I think, was the mayor bringing in a new police commissioner, making the decision that we're going to go with someone different. We're going to get rid of Kevin Davis. We need a radical change. I think that was the mayor's way of telling us that she heard us, telling us that she's responding to us and acting in real time. Operation Blitz is more intense police presence in communities that are known to have a lot of violent activity going on. I mean, that's the nature of this. Is Operation Blitz, which at this point is more police officers, foot soldiers on the streets. And this is going to be for the next, 8-9 days is going to continue. And that's what's going to happen. Do you think this is the best solution? I want to hear from you. 410-319-8888. Because here on Today with Dr. Kaye, the phone lines are always open. So we're talking about this new police commissioner, Darrell D'Souza, and Operation Blitz. It kicked off this weekend. On Friday is when Commissioner Kevin Davis was fired, let go, given the heave-ho on Friday, and there was an immediate press conference where the mayor stepped forward and said that Police Commissioner Darrell D'Souza was the new man in charge. And what he decided to do to approach the problem in a very direct way, he said, I'm going to increase police presence every hour on the hour until midnight. This was Friday. And when he talked about increasing police presence, putting more police officers on the streets, they got guns. They arrested 55 people this weekend. That is what Operation Blitz is about, trying to get people off the street. It brought to mind to me, folks, what Commissioner Bill Bratton in New York, when you had to stop and frisk, getting people arrested for the smallest crimes to stop larger crimes from building up. Is that the direction that we're going in? I'm thinking about New York and Bill Bratton. You may be thinking about Baltimore City under Mayor O'Malley. Are we getting back into that? Is that the only way we can turn the tide, increase police presence, 55 arrested one weekend? Is that how we turn it in this city? I have Ernest on the line. Ernest, welcome to the show.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I told you I was a retired law enforcement
You
officer.
did tell me. I'm glad you called me.
Now, you missing the point, just like everybody missing the point.
Well, that's why I need you to call me, Ernest, and tell me what's going on.
Let me explain to you why.
Yes, sir.
That gun task force has been in effect since BFL was the police commissioner.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that was a while ago then.
That's a while ago. They said that they could get 4 hours leave for every gun they take off the street.
Wow.
Without being paid. Every gun to get put off
Every
the street.
gun?
Yeah,
Okay.
they get 4 hours extra leave. Stealing overtime. That's what it is, stealing overtime. But we're missing the point this way.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody in that command staff knew what was going on. Everybody in that command staff knew what happened to Freddie Gray.
Right.
Black and white. They know he was beat
Right.
to death, and it didn't happen in the wagon.
Right. No, it happened before that, right?
Everybody in that command staff, after a while, knew what happened to Detective Suter.
Yes.
They know what happened to him.
Because they share news right like that, right?
That's why it's all quiet now.
Right.
They knew it was a self-inflicted wound, and they probably have it on tape.
Yes.
Because if they had a tape and saw what Detective Bominka was doing, walking around down there, hiding behind cars.
How could they not have Detective Suter on tape, right?
Right.
Yes.
So
let me ask you, Ernest, because
let me-
you know better. You know more than I do. Is this the
clear
right
this up for
way?
you.
Yeah,
Let me
clear
this
it
up
up,
for
because
you.
I'm a little confused here.
Anybody in the police department that tell the fact that Detective Suter committed suicide, anybody in that command staff
Okay.
should be forced to resign and may be charged with hiding a crime or making a false report or failing to obstruction of justice.
Right.
And that goes for everybody. That goes for the mayor. That goes for the state's attorney. That goes for everybody. And if you can't justify that if you knew what happened to Suter and you kept quiet,
Right.
I don't care how many guns you took off the street. You are not qualified to be a supervisor in the police department.
Now, let me ask you one more question, Ernest, before I chime off with you. Do you think Operation Blitz is the best way that we can stop this violence? Just flood the streets with police officers.
No, because the same thing is going to happen again.
Okay.
You know, this police said that when they went out on the street, they had stuff to tie people up. They had masks. They had a gun, a toy gun, a BB gun, and all that. And the reason why they had a gun is because if they shot somebody, they was going to plant the gun. Now,
Okay.
a lot of these officers in that gun task force have shot people
Right.
and planted the gun. So they were comfortable with IID.
Mm-hmm.
They were comfortable with the homicide unit, and they were comfortable with the medical examiner's office. See, because we still haven't heard of a report from the medical examiner's office
About what happened. To tell us
what happened.
To tell us
All
the story.
these people are criminals in the way that they're acting. So now they're trying to smooth it over because they know African American people are childish people. And they'll go for the okey doke.
Because we want to know what's going on, Ernest.
Yeah, we want to
know what's going on. Give us the truth.
That's why they coming up there standing up, and we put more people in this and in that. The police that's on testifying today and testified yesterday said they've been doing this crap for a long time.
Yep, it's
And
not new.
everybody
It's not new.
Everybody in the command staff knew what was going on. They didn't care what they did as long as they got guns off the street.
All right. Thank you, Ernest. I'm going to leave it there. Folks, we have opened up a can of worms here. I mean, we're talking about Operation Blitz, but in the same time that we're dealing with Operation Blitz that kicked off this weekend, we also understand that the Gun Trace Task Force is now giving testimony. And police officers are saying we've been doing this for a long time, racketeering, planting guns. Look at what is happening in our city. This is what we've come to. So is Operation Blitz just flooding the streets with foot soldiers, police officers? Is that how we turn back this violence? Like that needs to happen? Increase police presence in our communities? Or do we need to take a closer look at what's happening with the cops? Because the Gun Trace Task Force is telling us that there's some other things taking place that we need to draw our attention to. I have LaCheryl on the phone. LaCheryl, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Dr. Kaye. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling. So what do you think?
Thank you. So I have something that I would like to put on the table. In the spirit of, what I'm doing in my movement in the city, continuing to look at a collective approach to solving issues.
Right.
I would like to put on the table that where we are is no one side's fault.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as long as we continue to point at one side or the other, we'll never get to where we need to go. Now, that does not negate that there are challenges that are realized that need to be worked on. However, where we are, if we really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, we are living the manifestation of years of decisions that have contributed to where we are. Number one of them could be considered the closing of PAL centers. You have a severing of trusted police relationships in the community. Another one you could look at is defunding of recreation centers. If kids have nowhere to go to exercise their energies, to participate in something as they get out of school, they're going to go to what they know. The streets are open 24/7, 365. We also have to talk about the loss of the trust and the loss of responsibilities in our own community. We've had people getting shot in our own communities for years, and we turn a blind eye to it.
Right.
But we also have to take a look at decisions that have been made that we didn't have input on because we don't vote as much as we should. We're not as involved in the political system as we should be. And one thing that you could beg could be something you need to consider and look at is a mass exodus of police officers that took place in 2009 because there was a change in the pension system. So you had a mass exodus of trusted police officers in the community that had grown in the community, built relationships in the community, and there was nothing that facilitated how do we keep the connection between Baltimore City Police, the community itself engaged and at large, the children taken care of. So there's no one issue. And if you want to really be frank about it, we all have blood on our hands.
Right.
But now is the time for us to look at what are we going to do about it. And we cannot paint everybody with a broad brush, because if we continue to do that, we won't be able to address and take each situation as it is.
Well, let me ask you, LaCheryl, with that in mind, with everything you've laid out, do you think things like Operation Blitz, which is the flooding of our communities with police officers on foot, of course, they did have, 19 guns being seized, and that included an assault rifle and a shotgun. 55 people were arrested in one weekend. Do you think this type of operation is the best way to turn the tide of violence in our communities?
I don't think that it is the best way. I think that it is something that has been decided to be done. I think that it's going to take a collective effort, because if you really want to look at it, it's going to take arrests, yes, but it's going to also take us doing some work in our community as well to help. If we look at it as police officers are going to do it all, we're going to be in the same situation that we're in right now.
Okay.
We have to help. We have to work together. So Operation Blitz is not the sole fix. Absolutely not. We need to work together to come to a collaborative, collective approach. And we need to work across the lines. The sooner we start to work together against the things that divide us, the closer we will get to actually seeing long-term, sustainable, equitable change for all of us.
Thank you so much, LaCheryl, for checking in. That was LaCheryl Jones. She's Operation Protest, PROTEST, and all those are caps, and that is an acronym. Folks, on the weekend that we saw Operation Blitz, it moved right into Monday morning, and on Monday morning, the Baltimore Police Gun Trace Task Force corruption case headed to court. So in the same weekend that we're preparing ourselves to see Baltimore City police officers on trial for racketeering, for planting drugs, for being involved in nefarious activities, that same Monday, only a few days before, our new police commissioner, Daryl D'Souza, kicked off Operation Blitz, putting more police officers on foot in our community, 19 arrests, 19 guns being seized, and 55 arrests, folks. I am saying that correctly. 55 people were arrested in one weekend. Going right into Monday when you have Baltimore City police officers on trial in what has become Baltimore's biggest police corruption scandal. I have Dwayne on the line. Dwayne, thank you for calling.
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Kaye? Hey, thanks for taking my comment.
Absolutely.
This is a subject that's talked about in many forums, any black forums, and many barbershops. People are talking about this issue. But my response is always, hey, listen, nobody wants an increased police presence, but we have an acute murder problem in Baltimore. It's an acute problem.
Now, I'm not laughing about that, but I'm laughing at what you're saying. You are right. We do have an acute murder problem. The third year with over 300 homicides. We got a murder problem in this city. You're right.
So it requires an acute response.
Right.
So there's going to be many people calling in saying, we got to do more education and all that stuff. That's all long term. But there are 300 some people that potentially could die this year. Can we save some of them? We need an acute response to our acute murder problem. And if that means more police to save lives, then so be it. But we can't sit and pretend like, we don't have a problem, we don't need more police. Not just police, we need all different facets working together, but we have to stop the bleeding. The patient is bleeding out and dying.
That's true. We are in what they call stat mode at this point. The patient is bleeding out. I am with you. So what do we do, Dwayne? We got the patient on the table. The patient is bleeding out. What do we do? Do we add more doctors to the room? Because that's Operation Blitz, right? Okay, patient's bleeding. Give me 50 more doctors in the room. Or do we try something more radical? Or even maybe there's no radical response. Maybe the only response is to lock them up, take the guns away.
We have to stop the bleeding, which is, we need a surge of cops to try to stem the violence for now, and we need to continue all the other grassroots efforts that many people in the city are working on, and we need to help boost them up and allow for that tide to slowly die down the murders and the tide of righteousness for all of those good acts that those people are doing to sweep over the city. But until that happens, we got to stop 350 murders a year.
I'm with you, Dwayne. Thank you so much for checking in. Folks, Dwayne is saying, hey, we need to have a radical response because the patient is bleeding out on the table. Well, when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. Operation Blitz happened this weekend. More cops on the street. We have the Baltimore Trace Task Force coming up in court on Monday. 19 guns seized, 55 people arrested. We got to talk about it. 410-319-8888. Kadria and Thomas, stay on during the break. I'll get to you when we come back. This is Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Wise Whitehead. Keep it here. Welcome back to Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Wise Whitehead. So Black History Month is just around the corner. And if you're looking for something to do, we've got just the thing for you. Here on Today with Dr. Kaye, throughout the entire month of February, one of my favorite months of the year, we're giving away prizes almost every day, perhaps once a week. I'm looking at my producer who gave me the one eyebrow up. Once a week, we're going to give out a prize. And to kick it off, we have tickets to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, but these tickets are for this Friday only. Be the sixth caller in the second hour, and the tickets are yours. I know that's like, what does that mean? Sixth caller, second hour. We'll keep reminding you, but we want to hear from you so you can make your way down to D.C., get into this museum. People can't even get tickets in there, and we've got them here for you. So, folks, we are talking about Operation Blitz. That's what's been happening in the city this weekend. Our new police commissioner, Darryl D'Souza, kicked off his reign by flooding the streets with police officers on foot. It resulted in 19 guns being seized, 55 arrests this weekend. At the same time, on Monday, the Baltimore Trace Task Force, they were in court on Monday up on racketeering charges. I mean, this whole federal indictment of 8 members of this elite unit, it has come down to this. All of this happened in one weekend. I have Thomas on the phone. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Dr. Kaye.
How you doing?
Dr.
How you doing, sir? There's a lot going on, isn't it?
I'm going to tell you something, Dr. Kaye. I was one that originally said to give Darrell D'Souza a chance at his new job. But since then, some information has came to my attention.
Okay, talk to me.
I think right now it's time for him to go.
Wait a minute, Chris. Wait a minute, Thomas. I was just taking a sip of my tea, and you're saying it's time for him to go. He just started on Friday.
Time for him to go. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Darrell D'Souza was a part of that gun trace task force.
Okay.
Darrell D'Souza also, in 1998, I think 98 or 95, was involved in 3 homicides in which he fired the fatal shot to cause the death of the people.
Oh, man. So you're saying that it's time for him to go already?
It's time for him to go, because I'm going to tell you why.
Wow.
I thought about this thing.
Okay.
This man was a police officer for 30 years.
Yes, he was.
Now, in 30 years, this stuff has still been going on in Baltimore. So that tells me you were still a part of the problem, and you wait till now to have all these great ideas about locking people up now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You cannot arrest your way out of this problem, Dr. Kaye.
Okay.
They can't arrest their way out of this problem. Baltimore City Police Department need to do like they did in Newark, New Jersey. Dismantle the whole police department and start over.
Wait a minute. Let me ask, because I agree. I love the idea of like just if the fish stinks from the head down to the tail, cut the whole thing out. But do you really think, Thomas, that we could dismantle the entire police department and start over here in Baltimore City? Well, we're bleeding out, Thomas.
Yes, we can do that. I'm going to tell you why. Who's the chief law enforcement officer in the city of Baltimore?
Right now, isn't it the mayor or D'Souza? Aren't they the ones in charge?
No, ma'am. The chief law enforcement officer in the city of Baltimore is your sheriff, John Anderson.
There we go.
He's the chief law enforcement officer because his position is an elected position.
But we don't even hear. We're not hearing from him, Thomas. We are not hearing from him at all.
That's your problem right there.
Yeah.
You have not been hearing from him.
Wow.
That's why Baltimore City Police and these gun trace task force are allowed to do what they've been doing.
Right.
Had we had a smart enough sheriff in office, he can exercise his powers and actually place them under arrest.
There you go. All right, I'm going to leave it there, Thomas. Thank you so much. I'm a little bit surprised. It's been 5 days, folks. People are already saying that the new police commissioner, Darrell D'Souza, has to go. It's been 5 days. I have Chris on the line. Chris, welcome to the show. Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing today?
They now tell me you're a new caller?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and I always ring my bell and say, welcome to the family, sir.
I appreciate it.
So what do you think? What should we do?
I really don't know exactly what should be done, but it seems to me that, let me start off with saying I'm not the biggest political person, but I tend to just try to dial everything back and look at it from, the bottom up.
Okay.
And it seems like this problem has been a systemic problem for years, not 5 years, not 10 years. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And it seems like the only thing that anybody ever wants to do is to put more force, more police, more this, more that, when nobody ever really looks at the fundamental issues. Sometimes we skirt around and we talk about the fundamental issues, but we're always talking about Band-Aids, flooding this whole Blitz program with flooding the streets with cops. Why not really look at the cause of crime? Every piece of evidence, every piece of literature I've ever read in my life that talks about the root cause of crime always talks about poverty. So why do you keep trying to tackle the problem with force instead of trying to tackle the issue, the root issue, right? And then I also look at it a different way. I look at it as two different systems fighting each other, right? Everybody always wants to look at, it's the police officers and kind of make it like an individual problem, like this guy, the commissioner, and, all these different positions. When at the end of the day, it's two different systems. It's the police force as one big system and entity, like a living and breathing person, and then it's also the people, the community, also another completely different living and breathing system. And instead of analyzing the problems like that, they tend to analyze them on an individual level. So like everybody's really saying, you need to find out the systemic problems in the police force first before you can do anything. Flooding the streets with more police officers is only going to do what? That's like poking an angry beehive. You're only going to make it worse. You only so what? You got 19 people, you got some 19 guns off the street, you locked up 50 people. Who cares? Because there's 500 more people and there's 500 more guns on the streets for real. They keep it going, and now you just poke the hive, and now it's going to get even worse.
It's going to get worse.
Stop poking the hive. Fix the problem.
Thank you so much, Chris. Now, I want to point out something, folks. With Operation Blitz this weekend, be clear, 19 guns were seized. 55 arrests. It is now January 24th. We've had 19 homicides already this year. The numbers should already make you upset. I don't know if we should be calling for D'Souza to resign. I think we should be calling for something else to happen. Don't just flood our communities with more cops. We need some real world solutions for what's happening here. We have Jim on the line. Jim, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment, please, man.
Yes, please.
Yeah, my name is Jim. I'm 82 years old. I've been involved my all our life. And I think we need to take some of the responsibility. Now, the mayor did something today that none of the mayors in the last 40 years was able to do. She took over the police department.
Right.
How can y'all expect the police department to function like you want it when they take it over themselves?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Another thing you got to look at, sweetheart, we don't afford, all we do is like whores tell the government, we want jobs, right?
Right.
Now, in our community, instead of begging for jobs for the community, there's a small group. We're the largest ethnic group in the United States. And we don't have no money circulating in our community because we got everybody selling dope and taking dope.
Right. So what do you think we should do, though? Let me give you, why don't you give me a solution? What do you think we can do?
The solution is we have to organize ourselves as a network. I'll tell you what you can do tomorrow.
Okay.
You can go in your block tomorrow that has 40 houses and get $25 from everybody and get fish and vegetables and save 72%.
Okay. We're going to look at doing it. I understand what you're saying. So maybe we need to put...
You know what else you can do?
What else we can do? I got that one idea, getting 25 from everybody.
I'll tell you what else you can do.
Okay.
You can go in 3 blocks and get everybody to put up $40, right?
Okay.
Get one license, right? And then you can put those monies together and go to the wholesale house and buy anything else you want.
There you go. Okay. So it's about combining all of our money, which I think somebody was talking about yesterday with Kuja Chakalia, doing some self-determination and trying to save our communities from the inside out. That's what you're talking about.
Finish.
All right.
We put more money out there than anybody, and it doesn't circulate in our community. We let everybody come in and take it out, and then we blame the children.
Okay. Thank you so much for checking in. Folks, we are looking for answers here. Operation Blitz kicked off this weekend. 19 guns being seized. In that 19, it was an assault rifle and a shotgun. 55 folks were arrested. Then we roll right into Monday morning where the Baltimore Trace Task Force is being indicted in court. So we got two things happening here with the cops. Is that the answer? Flood our communities with more cops? I have David on the line. David, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'll be brief. I think the majority of the killings have come from drug-related incidents.
Right.
I think we're going to have to really seriously think about legalizing drugs in order to take the money out of it.
Okay, wait a minute now. Now, which drugs? Legalizing what? Heroin, PCP, all of those? All those drugs?
I think you're starting already with marijuana. They're starting to legalize it in certain states. And in other countries that have drugs legalized, they don't have the murder rate that we have. So we have to look at systems like that. The other problem we have is a lot of the crimes are being committed by the same people over and over. I like the gentleman that just spoke. I've lived in the city majority of my life. I've seen guys go in jail for robberies and assaults, and 2 or 3 days later, they're out of jail again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it's the same thing that's happening with murders.
Right.
And what happens is that people that see crime take place don't say anything. If you know somebody's committed a crime, you got to say something if you want crime to stop. You just can't close your eyes and, they have these records out, stop snitching and things like that. If you're going to follow that line, then the crime is only going to continue.
Well, now let me ask you this, Rich, because this is what, this idea that scares me with speaking up. That when you speak up, there's a chance that you can get physically injured from speaking up.
You don't necessarily, you can make anonymous phone calls.
Okay.
And give information out. You don't, have to give your name, or if you don't want to, because I've done it before.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, you know that a person has committed a murder, and you want, if they do it once, they get away with it, they're going to do it again.
Right.
So if you seriously want to stop crime, you've got to say something. You got to stop this mentality about, I don't want to be a snitch. If you want your community to stop, having 300 murders every year,
right,
you got to do something to stop it.
Thank you so much, David. I'm going to stop you there. So, folks, it's about seeing something and saying something, and perhaps it's about legalizing drugs. Should we really think about legalizing all drugs, starting with Baltimore City? So David's saying, okay, we got marijuana taken care of. Legalizing PCP, heroin, I can't even think of all the drugs. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. If Operation Blitz is getting things off the street, it's also flooding our community. Should we think about legalizing drugs? Oh, that's a big topic. I have Rich on the line. Rich, welcome to the show.
Dr. Kaye, how are you?
How are you? And I'm told you're a new caller, Rich.
I am a new caller.
Well, welcome to the family.
I am a new caller, but I'm not new to being in your presence. You actually interviewed me when I ran for city council.
I remember. How are you?
I'm doing well, but at the same time, the conditions of our city, I'm one of those ones that's on the front line trying to fight to combat certain things, but I've also become a victim of the murders. My son was murdered on October 15th of 2017.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
He was the 17th murder of October. He was the 182nd murder of the year.
Wow.
Buried my son on October 24th. And 17 years to the same day, my father was murdered. Wow. So being touched by the violence in this city is what compels me to want to do the work that's necessary. Really going into the trenches in the dark places,
right,
to try to be a light to guide some of our young men out. And we don't have enough of that, Dr. Kaye. The problem is everyone talks about what we need to do and come up with all these different solutions, but no one is really willing to go and get their hands dirty. And not only that, we got to look at the history of Baltimore City, to where we have decades and generations of population. And what we're seeing is the result of that is these individuals living with a lack of affordable housing, health care, poverty,
right,
lack of education and employment. And it's not just because it's been some years with over 300 or close to 350 murders. But the thing is that it's going to continue to escalate, because
right,
until we start looking at being in the business of building people builds businesses,
right,
building up the people builds up Baltimore City. We're building buildings and we're building all this different stuff up, and we still have individuals who are living way below the poverty level, living in swollen slums, basically, and they're living in the shadows of all this new stuff that the city is building up. I think that the Baltimore City Police Department, what they're doing right now, I think that if this had been their focus decades ago, I think that a lot of things would have changed pertaining to community and police relations. I think the focus needs to be on developing opportunities for individuals, whether they have 1 strikes, 2 strikes, no matter how many. Start giving some TIF money to these
right,
companies that's going to come in and that's going to be willing to build up and empower the community that they're sucking the tax money out of.
Well, let me ask you a question, Rich. Let me ask you a question. As a parent who has been there, and I do want to express our condolences on behalf of the station to you on the loss of your son. But as a parent who has been there, what are one or two, tips or solutions you would give for parents who are living in fear that their child might be next? Like, what would you tell them?
I don't know if I have a tip to give a parent. The only advice I think would be more of advice is that, do the best in all you can, for your child, and give them an example to follow. Don't let us as parents not just demand what they should be doing and doing what's right, but be an example for them to follow, but also inform them that these are some of the things out here in the community that you might be faced with. So put them in a position and develop them to make better decisions, as far as where they go, what they do, how they spend their time, who they are in concert with and things of that nature. And that's the basic thing is we have to be one of the major problems. We have to be an example for our children to follow, whether we want to believe it or not. Most of the at-risk youth and young adults who are in the streets, they have followed and exampled and been raised and reared in a form of raising to where doing the wrong thing is right and the right thing is wrong.
Well, I'm going to stop you there, Rich. I'm so happy that you called and definitely want to invite you to call back. Folks, we're trying to make our way through. We have a ton of calls, but we always have one line open, so you can get in on this conversation. 410-319-8888, Operation Blitz, flooding our community with more police officers, 19 guns seized, 55 arrests in one weekend. This is our new police commissioner, Daryl D'Souza's answer to our problem around violence. We have Ray on the line. Ray, welcome to the show.
How you doing? Thanks
Hello.
for my call.
They tell me that you're a new caller.
Yes, I am.
So welcome to the family, Ray.
Thank you. But I've listened to the show from time to time.
Thank you for listening.
I agree with a lot of the callers about things that we need to, get to the core of the problem. But growing up, I'm living currently in the inner city right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a son who's out there, and that's a fear of mine every day. And before you can get to the core of the problem, your citizens have to feel safe.
Right.
What I see when I look out the door and I see the lawlessness, I see mostly my people who have lost total and all respect for law, order, law enforcement, citizens, and lives.
Right.
Before you say, and I am, once from time to time, I believe in if you see something, you should say something, but your citizens have to feel safe.
Well, let me ask you this, Ray, because you said your son is out there. What do you mean by that?
When I don't mean he's not out, just leaving out the door, going from point A to point B. Okay,
just the basic everyday travel where people should have the right to be safe.
Right, bottom line.
Okay.
And you can raise your kids the right way. If we don't get a handle on this problem will come to your doorstep.
So do you think Operation Blitz is the way? Maybe the best way is to just arrest our way out of it.
No, of course you can't arrest your way out of it, but you have to have that. We need a fair, firm, flexible police department.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently in the mental health field. I'm more than willing to go out there, get my hands dirty, do whatever. But for some of these guys out here or some of these that's doing these crimes, you need a strong police department that's going to deal with some of them. Because no matter what you put in front of some of them, they're going to act the way they're going to act. Some.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be real about this.
Right.
I'm one of the few people that I've had my foot in the government, military, school, and even the street life. We got to be real about this. You need a fair, firm, flexible police department to deal with some of these issues. There's no way around it.
All
19 guns.
19 in one weekend. Yep. Assault
19
rifle,
19 guns in
shotguns.
1 weekend and 19 murders. What if 10 of those guns that weren't taken would have resulted in 10 murders? Now we've been looking at, 29?
Yeah, you're right.
There's no way around it.
You're right. I'm going to have you do, Ray, I'm so glad you cut. Hold on. My producer's going to get your information because we're putting together a community forum here coming out of Today with Dr. Kaye. And we want to have people coming together because we want to have these hard conversations face to face and come up with solutions. So you hold on.
Ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ray, for calling. So maybe that's the answer, folks. 19 guns seized. What if those 19 guns had led to 19 more homicides? 55 people arrested. Maybe those 55 people arrested could have led to more violence. Maybe Operation Blitz, flood our communities, arrest our way out of it, might be the answer. I don't know. I have Kadria on the line. Kadria, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I wanted to say, Dr. Kaye, the police is already in mass on the street. Drugs come in the morning. They watch them being sold to our boys, and they watch them distributed, and they can drugs. This don't go on only in Baltimore. It goes on all over. They know who gives the drug in, who sells them, and everything. We can't go and get the drugs because we still are barred from those areas. The policemen know all about it. That is why this is happening. It's just all about it is about the money, okay?
Okay.
All about it is about the money.
Thank you so much, Kadria. So she's saying the cops know. So we're not telling the cops anything they don't know. We have Leo on the line. Leo, welcome back to the show.
Good evening, Dr. Kaye. How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm pulling my hair out now because I'm hearing your callers calling. Some of them calling for the resignation of police commissioner. He's been on the job one day. I mean, this is absurd. I expect a police commissioner who's tough. I don't expect any police brutality. If they engage in police brutality that violates the Constitution and the laws, then I want those policemen arrested in jail. But as long as they don't engage in police brutality and they're conducting aggressive policing that conforms to the law, then we need that to curtail the violence. It is not the only answer.
Right.
In 2011, I went to the NAACP. I submitted a plan called Knock on Every Door, in which we would mobilize the churches, mosques, and community organizations. Everybody said, that's a great idea. Didn't do a damn thing with it. I'm sorry. Didn't do nothing with it. Nobody moved. I want the blitz from the churches, the community organizations.
Okay.
I want the historically black colleges and universities and everybody who say they are super intelligent and have credentials to come together at a town hall meeting and plan an action that represents a community blitz.
Okay.
And that's something that's doable. And certainly D'Souza is doing his job insofar as it's been mandated by the mayor.
I mean, now, Leo, I will say that I was actually kind of surprised when Ernest called and said we already want his head. I'm like, dude just got in there on Friday.
That's not fair. Look, D'Souza
on Friday
is going to be strong on police-community relations. I know that about him. He can sit down in a room. He can coordinate with the community. He is social worker trained.
Okay.
But he's a tough cop.
Yes.
And right now, we need a tough cop who's fair to enforce the law.
Thank you so much, Leo. Tough cop who's fair to enforce the law. D'Souza just got there on Friday, folks. How we already calling for his head? We have Kim on the line. Kim, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. What do you think, Kim?
Well, I do think we need more police presence, but not sitting in your cars. You need to get out and get to know some of the people in the community. And I don't know if we can change the crime rate, but we certainly can try to break the trend.
Okay.
Why are we breeding kids that murder?
I'm agreeing with you.
Somebody needs to look at what's going on, what the conditions of the children are, and what can, you open up a wreck. But if if someone's not there to help them channel their anger and to have other alternatives, then we're doing nothing. So we need to look at addressing the social and mental issues of the children that are committing these crimes, and we'll look at murder as a solution.
Thank you so much, Kim. Folks, we need to investigate why it's happening. We have Darren on the line. Darren, welcome to the show. Actually, Darren, you know what, sir? We're going to have you hold on. We're going to come to you after the break. Okay. Time is flying, folks. We are getting through this issue. We're talking about Operation Blitz. When we come back, we're going to pick up our conversation. I'm going to get to Darren. I'm going to get to you. 410-319-8888. Do we arrest our way out of this problem? We'll also have our dads on for our Parenting Roundtable. This is Today with Dr. Kaye. Stay with us.
Good afternoon. Taking a look at MTA systems. We're moving along nicely on the MARC trains at this hour. No delays to report on the Penn, Camden, or Brunswick lines of MARC. Light Rail Link is on schedule. Metrolink does have a 5 to 10 minute delay. And on the local link buses, the Purple Line westbound, Green Line southbound diverting at Baltimore and Carrollton. The Green and Purple Line eastbound, both diverting at Baltimore and Calhoun. For the MTA Transit Team, I'm Kirk Kroenke on 88.9 FM, WEAA, the voice of the community.
Welcome back to Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Whitehead. Folks, Black History Month is just around the corner. So if you're looking for something to do, we've got just the thing for you. All throughout the month of February, again, it is my favorite month of the year. Today with Dr. Kaye is giving away prizes. I checked with my producer, Iori, and she said every single day during Black History Month, we're giving out prizes. Not on Saturday and Sunday. We're talking about weekdays. When the show is going on, we will have a game we're going to play, like Let's Not Revoke Your Black Card. We are getting it set up for Black History Month, and we're kicking it off today. We have tickets to our museum, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, for this Friday only. Be the sixth caller between 4 and 5 today, and the tickets are yours. Folks, they're not even giving out tickets till next year, and we got them here for you. You need to give us a call at 410-319-8888. Participate in the conversation. Be the sixth caller. Get the tickets. Head to our museum. Pick up some mac and cheese and collard greens. They have all that going on down in D.C. We're getting back into our conversation. Before we went to break, we were talking about Operation Blitz. We have a new police commissioner, Daryl D'Souza. He came in the office on Friday. Over the weekend, he increased police presence every hour on the hour until midnight on Friday. 19 guns were seized. 55 people were arrested. This happened this weekend. So maybe the answer is to arrest our way out of it. I had Darren on the line. Darren, thank you for holding on. Hello, Darren. How are you?
I'm encouraged, and I'm encouraged that the callers are expressing that they're not just waiting for the police department to solve this problem. Because the truth of the matter is, the name of this movie is Get Out, as far as the powers that be are concerned with Baltimore City. And while we experience this, our people are fighting to get out of a sunken place.
Right.
And I mean, we're going to have to do everything we can do as a community. And it's going to take a lot for the police department to regain the trust of the people, because I'm hoping that it really is 19 guns off the street.
Right.
I don't know where the guns came from, because I don't know if I could trust the police department. I'm hoping it is, would you say, 35 good cases.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's going to take a lot. But as long as we just keep our eye on it, and thank God for what WEAA is doing and being like, it's just too bad that the people that really need, the brothers and sisters that really need to hear this, probably ain't hearing it. And that's a frustrating point.
Yeah, it is frustrating.
Yeah, and that was frustrating. But we just got to keep on doing it, because, the gentrification and all of the games that we've been playing, we've been fighting games in this city all the way since back in the 90s when I lived in
a long time ago.
Up by John Hopkins, and Freeway Ricky Ross was running through my community selling rocks to fund little wars in Nicaragua.
Wow.
But we still here. You know what I mean?
We are. So then let me ask you before you go, Darren, what do you think a solution is? Is the solution what D'Souza's doing? Let's just try to arrest our way out of this thing. Maybe if we get some of the brothers off the street. I mean, because I got to say brothers, because let's be clear about who's being arrested, right? I think a lot of them are brothers. I don't know for sure, right, Darren? But I'm suspecting.
Yeah, well, we need some more. I think we need actually vocational training and real counselors in our high schools, and we really need a stronger assault to try to keep these brothers in school at that age, and extra counseling and stuff like that, you know what I mean? To keep them away from all that,
Okay, I got that. I got that down. VOTEC training and more counselors.
Yeah, we need more training and counseling in our community. It was something else that it escaped me.
Okay. Well, you know what? Always call back, Darren. Thank you so much for checking in. So, folks, we're saying what Darren just said, VOTEC training, more counselors, or is it D'Souza's idea? We just try to arrest our way out of it. We put more cops on the streets and that'll take care of it. I have William on the line. William, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm a first-time caller.
Yes, I was getting ready to ring my bell and say, welcome to the family.
Thank you.
So what do you think we should do, William?
Well, there's so many things that need to be done. First of all, and I'll make this very, very short, with the problems that we're having in Baltimore City with the community, not responding well to the police department because of so many things that have happened, getting the guns off the street, getting the arrest made, I think that's good. But I think we need to have the family, which is so important, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, have social rallies, even at church. Mm-hmm. Get the community more involved in the church to sponsor certain things at the church for black youth.
Right.
Those who have been arrested, those kids who are looking for a way out. The community has to start within the base of the church and the family first before we can really, really say, okay, arrest all these people, get them off the street. But if we don't have an answer in terms of how we can impact youth lives that way, it's not going to work.
So that's what we need to, okay. I'm with you.
It's just not going to work. And I think that's one of the things that we truly need to do. I think also, the city gets so much money from the state, gets so much money from grants and programs. Why can't there be a way for black youth who are doing poorly in school, who families are from broken homes,
right,
have an opportunity to, the city should do something after school programs for youth, those who are having problems with reading, those who don't have a way out, stop and listen to them. I mean, they're in this tower on North Avenue,
right,
making all this money, but they don't give back to the troubled youth who really need it. And that's where it needs to start, within the community and the structure of the family and the church.
Thank you so
much.
That's
what I wanted to say.
No, I really appreciate you calling, William. We want to invite you to call back. So this is what's being laid out. Maybe what we need is more programs. Give the young people something to do. When school is over, they need somewhere to go. And it's not just a rec center when schools are closed. I'm saying when school is in session and school ends. Do we have things for young people to do? And that is what William is saying. Folks, we have Pete on the line. Pete, welcome to the show.
Good.
And they tell me you're a new caller?
Yeah, I'm a new caller.
Well, then I got to ring the bell and say welcome to the family. How are you?
I'm fine.
So what do you think we should do, Pete?
Well, it's no one solution for it. We're not going to rest our way out of it.
Okay.
And as far as getting guns off the street, you can forget about it, because if you get 19 off the street, tomorrow will be 20 new ones on the street.
Oh, come on, Pete. Don't ruin my day here.
well, let's be for real. Where do you all think they're coming from? They're not buying them legally.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's be for real. As far as with the drugs, legalizing it, yeah, but in a different way.
Okay.
I think it's like Amsterdam.
Oh,
I did quite a bit of traveling, and over there they whatever you need, like coke, heroin, whatever, you have to register. The users have to register, just like on, like, say, the methadone program.
Uh-huh.
And once you register, you get what you want at certain intervals. And crime is like non-existent.
I heard that about Amsterdam.
There is no more drug dealers on the street.
Right.
They can't make any money.
So now, do you think that's an answer? I mean, because I'm thinking that maybe, as I've used to hear my father say, maybe the biggest pimp is the U.S. government. So are they willing to take money out their pocket here?
Well, for one thing, here in America, you have the politicians are so old, they're walking around bent over on canes, and they won't change. 75, 80, it's time for them to give it up and let some young blood come in.
Right.
They won't change. They're stuck back in the 50s.
Well, but let's be clear, though. Being a politician is a cushy job, though, right? You can keep running, keep getting elected, and you can stay there pulling in $100,000 plus for life.
For life. And that's wrong. That has to change somewhere along the line. Until, like I said, there's no one solution.
Thank you so much, Pete. Not one solution. Folks, we just need to put this out on the table. We're talking about Operation Blitz. A caller has asked me, have we ever thought about why repeat offenders keep going around in this cycle? Why are they repeat offenders? Can we break that cycle? We have Lydia on the line. Lydia, welcome back to the show.
How are you doing, Dr. Kaye?
I'm well, and I have to say that Lydia is our first winner. She is the first winner of 2 tickets to the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Folks, do hold on and keep calling because we have 2 more tickets to give away. So even though you're not Lydia, you can still win. So thank you for calling, Lydia.
Sure. And listen, I was calling because I think the focus for me is in school. We've been talking about school now for the last 3 weeks very seriously, and I just really think that supplying folks with activities during school and after school, and also making sure that there are obviously things like heat facilities and after-school structured activities, books, and qualified teachers, which, we know they are. They just need the support. That's where I think so much attention, if it's given there, then the other things will fall in place and take care of themselves eventually.
Let me ask you, Lydia, because I know that we both have sons. I do know Lydia. Let me just ask you, do you ever think about that when your son walks out of the house? I think about it all the time in terms of all the violence.
It's crazy to think that if my son walks home from school and it happens to be dark, and the jacket that he happens to have on happens to have a hood, that I have a chill in my gut merely because he's walking home and and it's not still daytime. That's crazy.
Right.
So, yeah.
I know. And we've talked about this before. Like, how do we keep our boys safe? And even if we drive them everywhere, Lydia, just driving them everywhere doesn't seem to be the only answer.
No. It's with instilling good sense because, that's good too. I do think that, both our guys will walk away from getting involved in any kind of activity, but that's if that's an option for them. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Lydia, for chiming in. I want you to hold on so they can get your information. And thank you for just kind of giving me your inside opinion. Folks, we're making our way through. We're talking about Operation Blitz. Can we arrest our way out of this situation? I have Cynthia on the line. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm a new caller.
Oh, well, let me say, Cynthia, welcome to the family.
Thank you. I don't think arresting a way is a problem, and it's going to solve the problem. Why? Because mental health is an issue. There needs to be a law to change the law. You can take care of a child who has mental health problems. By the time he gets 18, he's not functioning on his own.
Right.
Throughout the time, when he turns 18, they say he has rights to do as he please. How can this child have rights to do as he please when he have a mental problem? And see, they become victimized with these people to have them on drugs because they have Social Security.
Right.
They use them for a way of making money. Not only is that a problem, after that, they have them out there selling drugs and they're easy to be influenced to commit crimes. Until you heal these people and recognize that these people have a problem and give parents more power legally. This is going to be an ongoing problem, just like the young man that was driving that car and killed them people.
Oh, yes. But it was his sister who stepped in to get him out the car, right? Because she understood.
His girlfriend, I think it was.
His girlfriend, okay.
But see, once they out there, they say, oh, no, you can't do anything. If they don't say to a parent, you can be my guardian, they're on their own, and they can make decisions and choose whoever. And our hands are tied. I have a son who's special needs. He went from a child who has struggled just to survive mentally. Now he's on drugs. I put him in program. He leaves out of program. There's nothing I can do. I've seen programs take advantage of them and put them in houses that they be selling drugs, and they're supposed to be drug programs to help him. And he's in a blitz. So until they recognize they need to change that law to give us some leverage to help these people who can't help themselves. You're going to arrest people who are mentally health, throw them in the same environment of people who are functioning normally, and they're going to continue to take advantage of them in every way possible.
Cynthia, thank you so much for calling and just sharing your story. Folks, there's a lot of issues on the table. So if we're talking about trying to arrest our way out of it, what Cynthia is reminding us, what about the mental health issues? That there are other interventions that need to be done that some of the callers are talking about. More after-school programs. Someone talked about more VOTEC programs. Someone said more counselors in the schools. More assistance if you have a child over the age of 18, legally an adult, who is mentally challenged, and they should be mandated to take the medication that they need. I know I'm touching on a very touchy topic, and you're free to call me and challenge me on this. 410-319-8888. I have John on the phone. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Dr. Kaye, your callers have made a lot of good ideas, you know, a whole range of things, but there's one thing that we as black people, we don't spend enough time talking about, and that's the economic aspect of all of this. If you look at the areas, there's no difference now between when Freddie Gray was shot. Then we spend all our energy, and it's very important now on the policing issue. I'm not trying to downplay it, but there's very little attention to this underlying issue of the high rates of poverty and the lack of employment opportunity. The drug industry provides employment opportunity. It provides more money than any other way of making a living in certain locations and given certain levels of income. Now, they're doing some wonderful things up there in Detroit. I mean, something has to be done. I spent 20 years of ministering over in the Mondawmin area. Some of these kids are sleeping on floors. I mean, no. Let me get off of that. So many things that I can tell you about.
I'm
that.
sure you could.
But we don't talk about it. I mean,
No, we don't.
You might want to have some people on the show impressed with some joint public-private, enterprise activity, because we keep talking about we need more money for rec centers. We need more money for all these things cost money.
Well, let me ask you, John. Well, let me ask you. Do you think that Operation Blitz, which is the plan set forth by Darrell D'Souza, the new police commissioner, that we're trying to arrest our way out of it? Is that the way to turn this tide of violence?
That only leads to these mass arrests. Then the people end up with a criminal record, and then they try to get a job, or they get arrested, and they don't have the money to pay bail or to pay the bond. No, that alone is not going to do it. But the police department is saying we need help, folks.
Yeah, they do.
You know, there are more issues than you're not going to arrest your way out, because I had a cousin. You know, he spent his whole lifetime involved in criminal activity, and he had no problems going back to jail. You know, so that's how he wanted to make his money. He wanted to live large, and he ended up dying young. Okay.
Thank you so much, John, for just calling. Folks, we're trying to get a good understanding of this, because we're talking about Operation Blitz. All these issues are coming up on the table. I want to bring into the conversation with me Dr. Guy Sims. He's a Title IX coordinator for Bluefield State College and a father of 3. Dr. Sims, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Dr. Kaye?
I'm doing well. So now I just want to talk to you about what has been happening, because I want to keep getting the callers in here, because we had Operation Blitz happening this weekend. And with Operation Blitz, do you think that that's the answer?
Well, it can't be the answer. What it is, it becomes for the police. It's a technique to answer or respond to something that maybe some people have said they want to see, and the police have one methodology of what they have to do. If people are saying we've got 20 people on the street and they're cutting up and they're doing this and that, then the police respond. You know, their job is, you know, they don't see themselves, or they're not equipped to. We're doing a social program. Our job is to get people off the streets, and they do it in whatever methodology they are. it really does take a whole network of different agencies to address the issue. Like the gentleman had said just prior, he said, well, he had a cousin or somebody who they were involved in crime. So there's some people, that's what they want to do, and they're going to be addressed in a certain way. But like the previous caller before that, I think was a young woman talking about her son or something like,
Yeah, with the mental health issue.
Yeah, the mental health issues. You have to. The police aren't going to be handling mental health issues. All they're going to do is lock up somebody, and then you hope somebody comes back around and says, this person doesn't need to be sitting in a 6x9. They need to be over here in this facility. Then just like you're saying, the after-school programs, once again, that's not a police thing, and that's not a mental health thing. That's another agency that has to handle that. So really, when they're addressing these issues, they have to have a lot of people at the table who come with a lot of experience and a lot of expertise to address the issue at hand. And I think sometimes we get caught with, we want something immediate, and the police can be immediate because they'll roll up, knock some heads, and then the people are off the street. And
right.
I think one of your first callers said, someone else comes in and swoops right in and takes their spot. So that's not resolving an issue. That is just being on the scene and just doing something. If you're really trying to address an issue, a lot of people have to be at the table, and a lot of resources have to be released and used.
Now, we also have on the phone, thank you so much, Dr. Sims, we have Mark Clark, who's the co-host of Mornings with Mikal, the father of 3 daughters. Mark, how are you, sir?
Hey, family. How are you doing, Dr. Kaye?
I'm doing well. So we're talking about Operation Blitz, and we have a ton of callers standing by, so I want to hear from you, Mark and Dr. Sims. And I want to open up the phone so callers can talk with us.
Yeah.
So do you think that what this new police commissioner has rolled out, Operation Blitz, they took 19 guns off the street this weekend. It includes an assault rifle and a shotgun. They arrested 55 people, and he increased police presence every hour on the hour up until midnight on Friday night. Can we arrest our way out of this thing here, Mark?
I mean, I agree with exactly what the previous doctor said. I mean, isn't this broken window policing? We know how this works, right? It's like you arrest everybody, and then we start getting all these cases about people being illegally arrested.
Right.
It's a deeper issue. The earlier caller said, I like what they said about the churches getting involved. The community really has to get involved and start answering some of these challenges. And the system, like the other caller said, the system really can't, the system can't fix it. We kind of have to fix it. We have to really create solutions, and what are those solutions? Like you said, creating jobs, creating opportunity for young people to have safe places to go to interact, creating environments where they can learn and environments where they can get off the streets and be doing positive activities. If that's the church, if that's the Greek community, if it's the community coming together to provide answers, I think that's going to be the big answer. But broken window policing and whatever you want to call it, we already know how that works. It doesn't work. It's a short-term answer to a big problem.
Well, we're going to leave it here for just a moment. When we come back, Vivian, Bubby, William, Jack, we will get to your calls. We'll also have another winner. We're giving away tickets to our museum, folks. Be the 6th caller, and the tickets are yours. Dr. Sims, Mark Clark, this is Today with Dr. Kaye. Keep it right here. Welcome back to Today with Dr. Kaye. We are making our way through the topics, talking about Operation Blitz. How do we get ourselves out of this hole that has been dug around homicide? 3rd year with homicide numbers above 300. We have a new police commissioner, and his plan this weekend was to just get police officers out on the streets on foot, arresting folks, 55 arrests, getting guns off the street, 19 in one weekend. We also have 4 homicides. We're up to 19 homicides, and it's only January 24th. I'm here with Dr. Guy Sims from Bluefield State College, right, Dr. Sims?
That's correct.
I also want to note that Dr. Sims, you and your brother, your comic book is actually down at the National Museum, correct?
That's right. We were just added to the collection at the Smithsonian, and we're very proud of that. And just real quick, since you're giving away prizes, and we'll talk about this later, I'll supply you a bunch of our brand new graphic novels, and you
excellent
give them out to your callers.
Excellent.
But
So
we'll
Black History Month, we got stuff to give out here on Today with Dr. Kaye. I also have Mark Clark here. He's a co-host of Mornings with Mikkel. Hello, Mark Clark, back here for another stint at WEAA, 2 in 1 day. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
It's a blessing being here.
It's wonderful to have you. So we're talking about Operation Blitz. I want to open up the phones because we're giving away tickets to our museum, folks. The 6th caller this half hour gets 2 tickets to go to the National Museum of African American History and Culture down in D.C. this Friday. Dr. Sims, Mark Clark, whenever I think about our museum, all I think about is the macaroni and cheese and the collard greens that they serve there, because the restaurant is amazing. I mean, they're up for major awards in food. So, folks, you can't get in if you go online. You can get in if you give us a call. Let's get these phones open, gentlemen. Let's have Jack. Jack, welcome to the show.
Hi. This is my first time on call.
Yes, and welcome to the family, Jack. I always ring the bell for my new callers. So what do you think we can do, Jack?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is really look inward. I'm a student here in Baltimore City Public Schools, and I really find it difficult when we try to look, we always blame, always the cops, always the teachers, but we never look at our own communities. We have to look inside our own homes, because these students, my peers, they're coming from our communities, and they're doing these horrible things because we live in a culture where these type of things are accepted. When you hear a gunshot in the air, when you see a dead body, it's just a normal day. It's not something crazy, and we've become acclimated to it. And we work like this. We don't ever try to adapt to it, and it's never like a shock. It's like, oh, that's just another day in Baltimore, and that's the wrong way. That's the wrong approach. These parents, we got to get these parents. I know it's hard to say, hard to hear it, but the parents have to care. They have to care a lot, and all of us need to care. Parents, grandmothers, uncles, aunts, everyone needs to come out in order to help build our community. That's the biggest thing.
Now, I want to ask you, Jack, what year are you in school?
I'm an 11th grader.
You're an 11th grader. And so you've been in Baltimore City all of your life?
Yes, I have.
So do you think, with everything that's been happening with the school system, I'm asking you because you're a student there, we just had the school board meeting on Monday, where parents were complaining that their children do not have what they need to be able to get into college. Do you think that problem is with the buildings, infrastructures, teachers, curriculum? Can you just kind of give us your opinion of what is going wrong in our schools?
The entire system.
Okay.
So there's a lot of issues with funding. We have a lot of teachers who aren't prepared. We have, faculty, facility issues. We have all these different things, and they all stack on top of each other to form this big old issue. And I work with SGA, so I've been around administration for schools, and I've seen the type of things that can affect both our students and our teachers, affecting teacher morale, which in turn affects student morale. And so those are the type of things that we need to really work on.
Thank you so much. Now, Jack, I don't want you to hang up. My producer is going to get your phone number because I'm setting up a community forum, and I want to make sure you're there because we want to talk about these issues on Today with Dr. Kaye in an open forum and see if we can get to some solutions face to face. So can you hold on? All right. So, Mark, what Jack is saying is that the whole system is dysfunctional. We're trying to deal with just the police issue, but within the school system itself, it is all stinking from the head down to the tail. So what do you think we can do to kind of change the culture and climate, not just on the street, Mark, but also in our schools?
I think the good news is I think the meetings that we had after our embarrassing situation with the heating and cooling in the school systems at least started a conversation about it. We've been having it on DAA and in the community, but this is the age-old problem. I think we're at the point now where I think the solutions piece is really what we all need to work on. I mentioned on the show we have all these issues where people have needs that aren't being met and the system can't keep up. I was thinking if we use our network and develop an app where people, because everyone has a phone, people can express what they need. I think something like that is going to be what's going to start, providing solutions to our systems, because the policing system, the education system is what it is. How do we move within that to make a difference, and then really answer those questions that people, the needs that people have, and how do we meet those needs? That's what we're going to have to figure out.
Now, Dr. Sims, I want to come to you because since you work at a university, I want to talk about the K-12 environment, which is what we're struggling with here in Baltimore City. You are aware that we have been dealing with the issue around coal, heating, infrastructure. We had a father at the school board meeting on Monday who said that his 12th grade son, Dr. Sims, is getting ready to graduate, who only has a 5th grade math proficiency level, 5th grade. In that situation, what type of advice would you give to a parent? I mean, this is 12th grade at this point.
Right. Well, first of all, I think that situation right there is horrendous, and of course, it shouldn't have happened. But let me just jump back to what the young man Jack said in the beginning about what's happening in the home. And I'm gonna tie it to the school situation, especially in light of the 12th grade, 5th grade reading level. We also have generations of families who have been part of the educational school system, and the school system has failed them, and they don't look at the school like we want them to look at the school as a place of, it's a resource and you're really going to be preparing your child for the future. They sometimes look at it's another social service that I have to go up against. My teachers didn't like me when I was in school. I don't like my teachers now, and I'm not saying this is all parents, but sometimes, how parents don't come to parent-teacher.
Right.
Teachers don't reach out because if a kid is in 7th grade leaves reading at a 5th grade, that should have been an alert.
Right.
In 6th grade, that should have been an alert. So here we are in 9th grade. The kid is sitting in 9th grade, and he can't keep up. So where's the communication between the school and the parents, and then the parents and the kid? So it's somehow we here, once again, here comes another network, like I always talk about, of how do we get all these people in a room sitting down and saying, here's the issue, how do we solve it? As a student, what's your role in it? Mom and dad, grandmom, whomever, auntie, this is your role. Teacher, principal, school board, this is your role. I think that's what it takes. For the young man who's in 12th grade reading 5th grade level, once again, there has to be another service to help that student. Maybe they have to take what do the Obama girls say they do, that year off or whatever it is.
The gap year.
You got to do that to get you up. Get you for a collegiate experience.
I think they call it gap year, Dr. Sims. When folks have money, it's called the gap year, right? When your folks don't have money, you're just taking a year off, trying to figure it out.
When you don't have money, it's just you don't go to school that year.
That's what it is. You don't go to school that year. I want to get some other callers in here, and I want to kind of give out some breaking news, but we just got an update that Baltimore Police Detective, Officer Richard Pinheiro, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he was indicted on charges of tampering with evidence and misconduct in the body camera case. Folks, the indictments are coming down, and it is happening. The Baltimore City Police Department, those cops that have not done right by us or by the oath that they took, they're now coming forward, and they're being indicted. Take them all down. Those that are not doing their job, those that are not policing these communities effectively, those involved in racketeering, misconduct, and body camera cases, let's take them down. We also have to change both the culture within our community and in our police department. I have Bubby on the phone. Bubby, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
How you doing, sir? So what do you think we should do?
I was just listening to the other caller, the younger caller. He kind of almost got to my point.
Oh.
So, what I was thinking about, because media, television, and cell phones. See, back in the day, it said, surely by the time if man ain't a cool with the time. See, Love and Hip Hop got all that little girls wearing this long hair.
Uh-huh.
Then we had Different Worlds, which was socially conscious.
Right.
But the one show that I really missed that we need was Teen Summit.
Oh, yes. I loved Teen Summit. I love that.
Teen Summit was a show that boy that was on there sounded like a very intelligent young man. And one of the callers before me has said that a lot of people who need to hear this radio station is not hearing it.
Right.
And that brother came on, and if we can get some kind of way to bring Teen Summit back and hear from the people who's living it, then maybe we can get a better understanding instead of all of us talking about how it was when we was coming up, because it's not that time now. Most of us had two parents. Most of us had PTA meetings. They don't even have them no more like they used to.
Yeah.
You know, bring your report card home and all that kind of stuff. Is anybody interested in that?
Well, now I want to say this because I appreciate. Thank you so much, Bubby, for calling, folks. This is what we're doing. I am putting together here the team on Today with Dr. Kaye. We are planning for a Black History Month open community forum. We are going to pull people together. We're going to do a live show, and we're going to hear from you. Teen Summit was on BET. That's not I think this is airing anymore. We can do our own teen and community summit, and we can talk about these issues. Mark, I want to come back to you. So in this situation with the parents, and this is from another one from the school board meeting, where the mother, her son is in 8th grade, and he's gone through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at Calverton. So, Mark, he does not have the composite score. We know that score is what gets you in to a citywide school or to a VOTEC school. He doesn't have the composite score to go to any of them. He's in 8th grade. So what kind of suggestions would you give to this parent, Mark?
It really, you know, at the end of the day, this child should have had assistance at an earlier point, and it's just hard to believe that the counselors or nobody gave her anything for the young man. You know, I think I really am dumbfounded as to how to move forward in a situation like this, other than, you know, getting with a system or a tutor or someone that can help assist this kid get to the level where he needs to be. And I'm just dumbfounded with how this happened and was able to kind of continue for so long.
And
I know that's not
concern.
a solution.
No, but
I'm like
I'm
speechless.
With you. I'm with you as well. When this mom spoke, it just broke my heart. And I just want to think about what we can do. And I also want to note that the Baltimore Police Detective, Officer Richard Pinero, I want to make sure I'm saying his name correctly, because somebody else might have that other name, and they're not the ones who have been indicted on charges of tampering with evidence and misconduct in the body camera case. Let's get back to our calls here. We have William on the line. William, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? Thank you for calling.
Okay. Hey, I'm sorry to say, but you're going to have to arrest these kids.
Okay.
You can't.
Dr. Kaye, you know, I was thinking, we do have so many great organizations out there. I know David Miller works with young men, and I know that Lamar Darnell Shields would have the answers for that young lady. And so, you know, I do have some contact information I can get to that young lady.
If you can, and we can make sure.
With the producer, because I do know organizations that can actually help. Now that I think about it,
and that
I was just shocked.
No, that would be for Calverton. Now, we had cut in because we had William. William, you were also giving your solution, sir. William, are you still with us?
To arrest some of these kids. I mean, you can't hold everybody, you know, under one umbrella. But some of these, that's like the other day, right? They caught these kids on camera. You know, having illegal guns, and the most that's going to happen to them is they will get a misdemeanor gun charge. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Because I would hate to have to walk down the street and have to walk into these street kids. I mean, so what do we do?
Okay, so maybe that's the answer. Thank you so much, William. Folks, I'm going to come to you now. We have a little bit of time and a lot of callers. We still have 2 tickets to get out. I want to come give me your quick solutions, and we'll make our way through. I want to make sure every single caller gets in here. I have Cheryl on the line. Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Dr. Kaye, so my question is, are the people that are being arrested, the repeat offenders, are we asking them in the jail, why are you still coming back?
Right.
Is that a question? And are there programs, social programs within the jails that are identifying what the similarities are, and then programs that can help address it? Are they teaching vocational programs in jail so that when they come out, they can have a skill?
Okay. Thank you so much. Cheryl is saying, hey, when these repeat offenders come back, Are we asking them why are they back? I do know that here in Maryland, we spend what's the average? About 14,000 per child in education, and we spend on average $40,000 per prisoner. Maybe for some people it becomes Dr. Sims, right? You go back into prison because you have more options. You're safer. You're more comfortable.
And it becomes something that you know and you can manage and you can navigate, and you have a community that you can work within.
And maybe let me bring Mark Clark in here. Mark, I'm just wondering, I've gone into some of these schools here in Baltimore City, the ones that have the bars on the window. The bells ring when it tells you when it's time to stand up. You have to ask for permission to go to the bathroom. It seems to be similar in some ways to a prison.
Well, I have a program at a facility for youth, and I won't name it, but brand new gym, brand new whiteboards, brand new facility, and it's in the meantime, you look at the city schools and you really do ask yourself what's going on, the priorities here. But again, it all starts with us as a community making noise about it and demanding that that our kids have what they need. And I think that's what I think has been missing.
Right.
A consistent effort of the people who need it the most not making enough noise. And so if we have to help, we have to help. I think that's going to be a part of the big part of the solution.
We're going to have to help. We have Shanae on the phone. Shanae, welcome to the show.
Hi, this is Sheena.
Sheena, and hold on now, Sheena, you're a new caller because I do have to ring the bell and say welcome to the family.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
But Mark, back in 2000, when we had People's Plan to Dramatically Reduce Crime with Dr. Andre Bumley and Dr. Powers, these issues were trying to be addressed back then, but because we didn't have the footage and the technology like we had with social media, people were thinking that we were crazy. Now, when you go to shock trauma, immediately they stabilize you.
Right.
So many of these children need to be diagnosed properly. Many of them have lead poison, and we know lead has a major impact on the developmental part of your brain for reasoning, conflict resolution, all of these things. So it's not going to be a quick fix, and absolutely we do know that when you go to the prisons, they send them back out, maybe $50, and you're lucky if you have an ID.
Right.
So it's not something that I would say that I would want my child, if he had a problem, he needed to be locked up, but do I want my child to be murdered? Absolutely not. So we have to have like a multifaceted approach to deal with each individual case by case.
Right.
And the educational system is broken. So we need to fix it. And I don't think we need to do a whole lot of talking. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If we just, like Mark said, those individuals who have programs, if they say, okay, we showing up on North and Charles or Penn North this weekend and bring the resources we have, and the individuals who need the resources to get in these programs are willing to go and do it, that's your fix. That's a good start right there. We talk a lot. We have a lot of templates and on and on and on. But most other communities, they put their money where their mouths are, and the resources, when their children are hurt, they heal them. They don't go in and say lock them up and throw away the key.
They look to heal them.
Evaluate it and diagnose. And police are supposed to respond to crime. That's what they do. If we get crime under control, many of them will go to the unemployment line. So you think they want us to control crime? That's why they were participants, as we're now seeing.
Thank you so much, Sheena. I'm going to keep going, folks. We have a little bit of time, and we have a ton of calls we want to get through because we do want to get our winner so we can give away these tickets. Ian Zay, welcome to the show.
Peace to the WEA family.
Peace to you. And you're a new caller, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So welcome to the family, Ian Zay.
I'm blessed to be in the family, and we tweet each other back and forth. So thank you for your great information.
Thank you.
So I agree wholeheartedly with much of what some of the previous callers have said. Although I would say, I don't know if the system is broke, the educational system. I think it might be functioning just how they want it to function, because this is a function of institutional oppression, where it has. You can't have this stuff happening by chance. This stuff must be designed. I think it was Malimo Schumer who wrote, too much schooling, too little education. And so, we just need to hashtag stop playing. And if we are serious, we need to have our parents I think one of your guests said making more noise. More noise is not even enough. We should be turning cars over, stopping traffic on
whatever it takes.
even.
I'm with you. Whatever it takes.
I heard your show the other day. They were talking about putting masks on children to go into schools, and
because of asbestos.
You could wash your hands, but don't drink the water because it's lead, or the children are shivering. We need to organize to shut this stuff down because this is outrageous. And if you have children who have been socially promoted, then again, we just need to stop playing. And we need to have, whether it's David Milner, whether it's Brother Fanon with the Youth Resiliency Institute, or even, many of these black PhDs or folk who with graduate degrees to go ahead and volunteer, start these Saturday programs, and go ahead and teach not only our black history, but also help to bring them up to speed. And let's utilize the churches so that we can, help to remedy this stuff. We just got to stop playing. Hashtag stop playing.
I'm going to stop you there. INZ, can you reach out to me on Twitter? Because I want to invite you to the community forum that I'm putting together. Thank you so much. Folks, I want to get Rochelle in here. Rochelle, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. And you're a new caller, Rochelle?
Yes, I am.
So welcome to the family. What's your quick solution in a little bit of time we have left?
Well, what I want to find out, Baltimore City undercover, this black detective, they call himself the devil. The world needs to know.
Yes.
He's using this type of device that takes and harm and hurt and kill people and control people. I have an investigator. She's investigating the SS Force, and Internal Affairs is investigating them. But until then, I didn't know the investigation was going to take long. He's still using his SS Force.
I completely agree.
My kid and my dog. But everybody needs to know this type of device that he's using. When you hear people say, "Oh, that person's crazy," well, you know what? You need to find out who's next door or who's living downstairs. Because once I find out his devices, the name of it, I will be calling back to let
and I think you should. I'm going to stop you there, Rochelle. Thank you so much. Dr. Sims and Mark, I want to hear one more comment from you before you wrap. Can you just give people one solution? As parents and Mark, in your case, you have 3 daughters. Guy, you have 2 sons and a daughter. Just one thing that you think parents can do today to be more involved in their child's life. Dr. Sims, I'll start with you.
Get involved with your school.
Get involved with your school.
Because I know you're short on time. Get involved with your school.
Okay. And Mark Clark, let me ask you, what do you think? What's one thing that people can do?
Ditto. They need to see your face. They need to see your face, and you need to know everything that's going on with your child and with the school.
The idea of getting actively involved, which, it may be like INZ. What do you say? Stop traffic. We turn over cars. But I think along with the two of you, whatever you have to do to be an active presence in your child's life, you have a precious jewel. You have one shot to get it right. Dr. Guy Sims, Title IX coordinator for Bluefield State College, father of 3. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Mark Clark, co-host of Mornings with Mikkel, father of 3 daughters. We'll check you out tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on Mornings with Mikkel. Thank you, Mark Clark.
Much. Thank you, dear. Love your show. Love you.
Thank you so much. So, folks, thank you so much. I'm going to leave it here. We had a lot to talk about today, and we will continue our conversation. Make an appointment. Meet me back here at 3 p.m. tomorrow. I got tickets I want to give away, and I want you to join the conversation. Today with Dr. Kaye is a production of WEAA. The show is produced by Ayori Odigizua. Our board operators are Andre Melton and Mikkel Ramos. My producer just bugged me to tell you that the next person who calls, and that'll be on Faraji's show, will get the tickets. So why don't you pick up that phone? Start calling now, 410-319-8888. Join For the Culture with Faraji and get those tickets to the museum. Remember that here on Today with Dr. Kaye, your voice matters. Your opinion matters because we tell stories that matter. We're here for you. We are listening because if it has your ear, then it has our attention. Right here on Public Radio, WEAA 88.9 FM, the voice of the community. I'm putting together a Dr. Kaye community forum, and I want you to join me. Reach out to me with todaywithdrkaye@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter @KWhitehead. Come to my community forum. Stay tuned for a final update from MTA.
Good evening from the MTA. We have on the mark trains, on-time service on the Penn Camden and Brunswick, 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 Penn Camden and Brunswick,